Welcome to the Louder Tales podcast. We hope you enjoy today's show, so sit back, relax, and enjoy. Here's your hosts, Rainbow and Tim.
I can't hear. Oh, there.
Yep.
I'm here.
Just had to be patient.
I'm here. You know, our intro says to sit back and relax, but what if somebody's driving while they're listening? They should probably not relax too much.
Yeah, we might need to change that. We'll get that one step at a time,
Thank you,
yes.
everybody, for listening, tuning in, clicking.
Happy Sunday, everyone.
Yep. Back with another episode.
Yes. I have to say one thing before we get started. I hope if you go to church, you had a wonderful service.
I did.
We absolutely did. We might have teared up a couple times.
No, my eyes were just sweating.
Well, our church had a great loss.
Yeah.
Last night, wonderful church member. She was there when we started. I think she'd been there for 20 plus years. She's been there for a long time, but she passed away last night. So we'll be thinking of her husband and sending lots of love to her family.
Mm-hmm.
So if anyone else has prayers to send or prayers to spare,
yep,
to send them out in the universe for not only her family, but every other family who's suffering or who has a loss or just needs a prayer.
Yes. All right. I think today is a good day. I'm actually going to take this ear thing off a little bit because still my brain doesn't understand that I can hear myself differently. I don't know. Something weird. Anyway, we're going to talk about a situation that has happened to me for the past about 10 years now. And it's just kind of slowly
11,
grinding to an end.
12.
Yeah.
A little bit longer than that because I know it was going on before you and I.
Yeah. So there's so my situation and kind of where the road led me to where I am now is it was very tumultuous. I had a lot of struggle. I went through a lot of heartache. There was a period where I drank a lot and I felt like life wasn't worth living. I was very depressed. I went through a lot of emotions, huge range of emotions. Some of them I just didn't know what to do, you know. And if you're listening out there and you're going through some struggles, don't worry. There's other people that have probably struggled in the same manner, and I'm gonna disclose some information about my life that isn't fun to disclose. And I'm gonna just kind of read what I've got some stuff written and some stuff as reminders. So some of it you're going to hear me reading, and some of it I'm just going to explain so that they hear. And my wife will, of course, help fill in memory little blips of information. She'll probably go, "Oh, that was this situation," and then she can correct it and help because her memory is much better than mine. Here we go. All right. I have researched the legality of what I'm about to disclose, and I will not intentionally disclose my ex-wife's last name. I will only disclose factual information for the purpose of disseminating a newsworthy conversation for the purpose of local support to other fathers that may be experiencing the same thing, a way for us to reach out to single fathers to let them know that they are not alone and what steps they can do to prevent similar negative results from happening to them. In other words, if any of this sounds familiar, don't worry. Don't fret. You can get through this. So I'm going to kind of go through a huge list of just kind of what's been happening. And this is like a 10-year description, trying to jam it all down into one little spot. All right. This whole thing pretty much started in December of, I think it was 2017. No. This is the part where my memory is all jacked up, but we'll get to it. Okay, so it was around Christmas time, and my ex-wife had contacted me because at that point I had parenting time that was specific for all summer long. And then she had parenting time all school year. Now, I was in the military. She was not working. And she had recently gotten married. That's kind of part of the story, but we'll get into that later. The situation was that every other year we shared, the non-custodial parent would get birthdays, holidays, 4-day weekends, 3-day weekends, stuff like that, where the other parent would get time. The unfortunate part was the distance. I was too far away so that it wasn't feasible to have a close relationship. We weren't like, well, at one point we were only a couple hours away, so it kind of worked, but it was still difficult. So in December of one year.
It was 2017. We were here when it all started.
Okay.
I think.
We may come back and change that, but regardless,
yeah.
You'll figure it out. The year, the specificity of the year does not matter, but the fact that we're going through a timeline, and I'll try to keep it as timeline accurate as possible, but I may remember things later and kind of go back. So anyways, here goes. Middle of December-ish, it was like right before Christmas, my ex-wife was asking for a little bit more time than what she was allowed to have during the summer, which was predominantly my time. That was my parenting time. I was the one that was in control of everything because the kids lived with me. And she said, hey, I would like to take the kids to Disney. And my initial thought was, nope. What she was asking was, in the middle of my parenting time in the summer, was the boys' birthday. Our boys that are twins, their birthday is in the middle of the school summer break. So although she would have time to spend time with them on the birthday, she wanted, she made it sound like it was just a couple of days before and just a couple of days after. But the end ask was that she got the boys a few days before and then kept them from the remainder of the summer. And I was just like, okay, yeah, that's not going to happen because I already had a small amount of time as it was. And because of the travel on my off years, I really didn't get 4-day weekends, 3-day weekends, especially because at one point I was no longer even in the same state. So it was kind of a battle. But
well, and the reason why she wanted the boys, that was a 2, 3, 4 times a year thing for them. So it's not like it was something new.
Yeah, it wasn't like their first time going to Disney.
No,
and it was just
no.
It seemed more like a control thing.
It was.
Than anything else. So she had asked me, and it was just before Christmas. Now, I had already made arrangements with her for January, I think it was 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. It might have been 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. But it was like 3 days where I would go to the town that she was in, and I was going to spend some time there with our boys, and I would pick them up and I would actually have them for those days. In other words, they weren't just like I got them for a couple hours in the day and brought them back at night. I actually had them overnight, and visitation where it wasn't an issue.
Is that when you stayed with Marcy?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So that was, I stayed with my niece and in the same town, which really isn't that far. And then we ended up doing some fun stuff. I actually have a neat photo that I took with the boys. We were out in the Sonoran Desert, of all places. We went to a real dark location. I had researched this area, and it was a great place to see the Milky Way galaxy and all the stars. And I was just starting my photography at that point. I had taken this picture of the boys playing with those little helicopter. It's like those rubber band things. You pull back on them, and when you let them go, it's a LED thing, and it floats down, So when you take a long exposure photo, the initial zing where the little helicopter goes is a straight line, and then as it slows down and turns into like a little parachuting helicopter, it goes from a straight arch to a little thing.
Yeah.
And so I told the boys, I said, you guys fire like kind of towards each other in the air. And so they did, and I caught a shooting star in the middle of that, and that was really cool.
There you go.
So that was fun. We had fun. We got to explore the area a little bit, and it was just a neat area, kind of out in the middle of nowhere. Kids got, I gave them a camera, and I said, here, take your own pictures. Take some pictures. And so they were excited about that. That was fun. Immediately after that, and originally I had told my ex-wife, I said, let me talk with the kids. Let me see what their kind of feel is on this whole Disney trip, and then I'll let you know. because I really did want to get an idea of what they were really thinking. Because my job as a dad is not just to take time away so that it's mine, mine, mine. I mean, if they were really had their head set on it and heart set that, if it means that much to them, it's probably more important for them just to go ahead and go. And then that shows that I'm supporting them.
Yeah.
I ended up looking into it. And like you said, this is not their first time going. It wasn't that big of a deal. She wanted way more time than it was necessary. All the things that I had kind of thought about and prayed upon as far as whether this was a good decision or a bad decision, everything was like, don't let them go. So I want to say it was January 7th. It was right after I got back. I decided to write her an email, and I actually found the email. I found an old copy of it, and it for the most part, it just said, "Hey, I thought about this. I prayed about it, and I'm going to make the decision that the boys will just stay with me." I remember telling her, "Hey, look, if it does say that she gets time on their birthday. Now that's only one day, and I know she had to travel, so I told her, I said, look." You want to spend a couple of days with them, that's fine. I'm okay with that. I'm not inflexible. I'm flexible.
Yeah. And
so I said, go ahead and, if you want to book a hotel or get a hotel with a pool in it or something, the kids are like that. And the answer was no. She was like, no, I want the kids. This is my time with them for their birthday. And I said, you're not getting denied time with them. You're getting denied the extended time and you cutting my summer short. That's all I'm doing. And it was my right to do that. I was the father. That was my parenting custody. She didn't have the right, just like I didn't have the right to tell her what to do on her time if I wanted to spend extra time with our boys.
Yeah,
and so
absolutely.
It was just hey, I thought about it. I did actually give it consideration, and the answer is no. The next day, all of a sudden, the boys were scared, terrified to talk to me on the phone.
Yeah.
Because
they were all excited the day before.
Yeah. And I've got video. I have videos of us singing along to some country music in the song or in the cars we're driving and just having fun. And we went to go see a movie. I think we saw Star Wars or something.
Yeah. You have a lot of video from that trip.
Yeah. It was a good time. And all of a sudden the boys were scared of me. And I thought, well, that doesn't make sense. That turned into 115 days. Folks, I don't think you understand. I lost my kids for
He lost them for 115 days. And it was hard. It was hard for him. It was hard for me to watch him go through that hurt. I was sad, that she at this point was just being malicious, and she was controlling the whole situation, and she knew it was hurting him, so she just kept on.
Yeah. It was 115 days. I did not get to talk to my boys. That hurt.
And we know that there's a lot more fathers out there who are kind of struggling. We also know that there's mothers out there who are struggling, with this. But we're kind of emphasizing on the father struggles because it seems to be harder for the fathers to fight for their rights and for the same rights that mother has, like custody, child support, even help from the state when they need it.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like it's set up in a system. Now,
Texas is a father state, but they're the only one who is.
It needs to be they need to take mother and father really out of the equation. It just needs to be custodial parent and non-custodial because then it turns into moms are best or dads are best. And that's not the case. Each individual case needs to have its own attention.
Yeah, they don't. They're really big on, for some reason, they think that since,
Yeah, I understand. Now, and this totally makes sense in the beginning stages of childhood.
Oh, yeah.
A child really does need their mother during that bonding moment when they're nursing, especially if they're that young. And, but the father in the household is extremely crucial to a child's upbringing.
Especially when the children are boys.
Oh, yeah.
That's, the father is the role model for how these boys are going to be men. And when a mother is trying to take them away from the bio father, we have to forget she was trying to make them call you Tim.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she said, nope, they're not going to call you Dad. She was very aggressive in her... I mean, she told me right from the get-go. As soon as I told her this, I actually have it recorded on a phone call because for years before that, I was recording phone calls, which is legal. It's okay to do. Yeah. And I did that for not only legal reasons, like to protect myself, but I have a bad memory. So sometimes I would replay the phone calls and be like, oh, yeah, she did say that, or I did say that, or whatever. So it was just a factual, documentation. That's really all I did. I have so many phone calls, it's not, yeah. But yeah, it was difficult. She had threatened immediately. She said, if you don't give me the kids for Disney, I'm taking the kids away from you. You'll never see them again. Yep. That was very vindictive, very aggressive, and very controlling. That's clearly what she had intended. There's no, oh, you're not a good father figure. It was nothing like that. She just straight up didn't want me to have a relationship with my boys, with our boys, hers and mine. Mm-hmm. So the journey has been difficult. Let me tell you, that is the understatement of the year. It was 115 days, and I had to get a judge to order her. The judge ordered her. You will do this. And it was to the point where the judge had actually said to my ex-wife, well, if the kid says that they want to go out and smoke cigarettes, are you going to let them? I mean, these were, how old were our boys? 7? 8, maybe?
When
I think
she
7.
Did this?
Yeah. I think
they were
very young. I mean,
with
clearly.
The Disney thing?
Yeah.
No, we got them when they were 13.
No. The claim to go to Disney, was that 13 years old?
They were like 11 or 12 because it was 13 when we got full custody of them.
Yeah, so this is a couple years. So 11 years old, that's still at an age where you can tell your kid, you're going to do this. Like, oh,
she's been manipulating them since.
Right. So, I'll just say what I got. So, at one point, she had threatened to take the kids away, that I would never, ever, ever see them, and they wouldn't know who I am, which that definitely backfired. The conversation that she had with the judge was the judge was like, look, you're going to hold the phone up to the boys' ear, whether they want to talk or not. The dad has the right to have a relationship with those kids. And the judge was very clear. The judge knew something wasn't right with her. Judge could tell. So this happened, and she was ordered to physically let the kids talk with me, or the judge would hold her in contempt. What do you know? The very next day, all of a sudden, the kids were not scared to talk to me. I'm shocked. That was a lie. I was not shocked. We all knew. Everybody knew.
Yeah.
Okay. Judge is coming down hard on her and saying, hey, look, put your arguments aside. Kids need to have both parents, which is true.
Yeah.
They do. I'm saying she made bad decisions. I'm not saying she's a bad parent. I'm saying she made bad decisions. And this was one of them. Especially telling them you're not going to see your dad. So remember, it wasn't the reason why they said they didn't want to talk to you is because she had promised them things. If you say this or you tell them you don't want to do this, you will get this. Well, that's what we believe. That's not.
Remember the boy said that.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. So I guess we're not.
The boys said that's what she told them.
Not really hearsay anymore, is it?
No,
folks?
It's not. No, the boys said exactly what she told them.
Okay. So I also have an agreement that I had mailed to her. I'm actually just going to read this because this is a kind of a long one. So it's supposed to be a 2-page thing, but I cut off the second one because it's just the signature thing. And this is what I turned into the courthouse incorrectly. I didn't know I was doing it the wrong way, so I didn't get it done right. And this is part of why you should have a good lawyer. And eventually I did. soon off this. Okay, the current parenting custody time will remain in the same until both children turn 12 years old. Now, this was back in, I think, when they were 7 or 8.
Yeah, I actually think this was done up when...
Right when we first split, and I asked her. I remember this.
No, you wrote this up when you and I were together. You and I were actually married.
They weren't married when they were 12. We weren't married when they were 12.
We've been married for over 9 years. They're only 18, honey.
So they were 9.
He can really math.
So they were 9 when this happened.
Yeah, but we were married. You and I were married.
What was I saying?
We've been married for 9 years.
Yeah, I know
Tim.
we've been married for 9 years. I'm trying to do the math on the boys' side, not our side. On
The
how old they
paper-
were.
Yeah, the paper that you wrote for Alice. You and I were
You said they
married.
were 12. No, I wrote this when they were like 7. Because it says in here when you're 12.
So that's what I'm saying. They
saying.
might have been saying, but you and
Yeah,
I were
okay.
married. We
At
do
any
this
rate,
all the
this is us. This is how we
Welcome
live.
to our... We do this
Yeah.
all the time, you guys.
Hold on, you got a sound. You got your
Yeah,
Windows
it's
sound.
whenever I do...
Click
I
the
don't...
Windows. Sorry. Hang
Yeah.
on a second. Can you pause it? I'll explain what's going on.
Yes. Let me
Sorry,
pause
folks, we'll
this
just
because we got
get this
noises
corrected
going
real
on.
quick. All right, we're back. Sorry about that, folks.
Sorry.
There's some little weird noises on our computer, and we'll fix it later. You're just going to have to deal with it. Sorry. I apologize. All right. Yeah, so I wrote this when they were somewhere between 7 and 9 years old. And it was when we were married, and it was before their 12th birthday. So this is what it says. When, and it names the boys, start their 7th grade school year, they will both live with the father for the entire school year and continue through the summer. They will return to the mother 2 weeks prior to school, starting on the closest weekend. Both of them will stay with the mother for the 8th grade school year, and this will continue switching every other year. I thought it was different. Maybe it gets into it. Hang on. The alternating custody would follow the age, regardless if the child was held back. As an example, if one child failed the 6th grade, they would both still live with the father for the next year, but the one that failed would retake the 6th grade for the father, while the other one would be in the 7th grade with the father. During the end of the 6th grade, as they are still 11 years old, they would stay with the mother until after the 12th birthday. This will begin the alternating years between parenting time. So I think, at 6th grade, so at 7th, they were supposed to go to me. 8th, they would be, what grade. But they're talking about, I wrote this for grade, and I meant to say years. I'm not even going to go with this paper. I'm just going to explain it how I explain it. So basically, each kid would be with each kid would be with me for the summer. And then at the end of that summer, one kid would go with the mom and the other kid would go with me. So we'll call it child A goes with the mother and child B stays with the father. At the end of that school year, child A that went with the mother would stay there. Child B at the end of the school year would leave me and go to the mother, spend that entire summer with the mother. So both kids would not only spend together, but they would both be with the mom. And then the one that was there earlier, the A child with the mother, would then come to me at the end of the summer. So now that child would be with me during the school year, and the one that I had during the summer would be with the mother for school year. So at the end of that summer, child A would be with me, child B would be with her. And then at the end of that school year, it would reverse, and I would get child B. So I would have both children for the summer, and then it would go back to the A. So the children would spend every summer together. In other words, the fun time. They would always get to see each other during summer break. They would always get the entire summer with one parent, and it would flip-flop. And each student or each child would be with each parent every other year for a school year. So in other words, they're not being bothered by the sibling during the school year. They can complete work. They can have their friends, so on and so forth. And I know that kids changing schools frequently is demanding for the kid, and it is a challenge, and it does have setbacks. But it also has the positives of you're going to now have friends in 2 places. You're going to have 2 different support systems. Mm-hmm. You're going to have the ability to travel. And so now you've got experiences from both sets of families. Each parent gets to spend time with the kids one summer. So if she wanted to set up a Disney vacation with both kids, she could do it on the summer that she had both kids. And if she wanted to set up a Disney vacation where she didn't have the kids, she would do that the next summer. And it would continue on this until the boys turned 18, and then that's it.
It makes it fair for both parents.
It does.
And just so you guys know, before you're like, oh, you don't separate kids. These 2 boys, I have never seen twins fight and dislike each other like they do.
They do not each other's
like
throats.
each other
Crazy.
at all. As long as I've known them, they haven't liked each other at all.
They go through some definite sibling rivalry. That's for sure.
We've got, fights in the backyard. That's where we sent them when they tried to.
Do you remember? I told him I was going to get them boxing gloves and stuff.
You did.
And I did. Yeah. I was like, you want to punch each other? Let's do it the right way.
So he bought the boxing gloves, the headgear, the mouth gear.
Yep.
And he's all like, if this is what you want to do, this is how you're going to do it.
Right. Like if you guys want to fight, slug it out.
It
get
worked
your exercise
until the short one realized how to bring the bigger one down. And we all know how that was.
It was a thing. So I offered to have this split parenting time where each parent would have equal time with each kid. In other words, one parent didn't have substantially more time with one or both kids. It was always split down the middle. Kids got to spend every summer with each other. Kids got to spend the entire summer with one parent every other year.
Yeah.
So it was as even and fair and split as you could make it. Each parent would claim the kid for taxes. That would stay the same. Each parent would have, for whatever travel arrangements, they'd split it down the middle. Everything was just fair. Nobody would pay anyone child support. It was just a very even, level-headed agreement. And she agreed. She actually went and got it notarized and agreed to it. And I turned this in, and I didn't turn it in the right way. That's my fault. But regardless, when it came time to their 12th birthday, she's like, no.
Yep.
No, that's not going to happen. Completely went away. She essentially said, oh, I'm going to agree to work with you, and then pulled the plug at the last second.
Nope.
And I believe there was a financial benefit to her doing that. And I'll talk to you about that later. Yeah. Anyway, so let's see. I just got a bunch of stuff here. Okay, so agreement made for perfectly split time. I also have child support calculating, only getting a few months. Oh, that's talking about now.
Oh, yeah.
So I had been awarded full custody in 2018. It was October. And I was caught off guard. I was like, we weren't even to the point in the judicial proceedings where I could say, hey, can I get my time back for the summer that I lost? And I'll get to that in a minute, because that actually, let's talk about that. So there was, I'm going to get to the point. One of my sons claimed that he was suicidal, or the claim was that one of my sons was suicidal. The claim came from her. The son did not specifically use those words, and that became aware and apparent later on as I actually had my lawyer dig into it, talk to the doctor that did the evaluation, and the doctor admitted the son never said that they were suicidal. The mother said that the son said he was suicidal.
Yeah.
So it turned into a big, this was clearly, she made this up.
Yeah.
So this was the summer that I was supposed to have, and it was after whatever argument. And she did not want the boys going with me because she didn't like the way that the court had ruled. So she said,
like being told no.
Yeah, she didn't like being told no. And so she had made the claim that one child was suicidal. And the judge looked at it and was like, nope, you can send it. Send the kid. He's fine. He's not suicidal. And that judge knew. The judge was aware of the years of shenanigans that she has gone through. I mean, from when the judge ordered her to read a parenting book, she never did it. Or if she did, she never turned in documentation because I never got a copy of it because I got copies of everything. And that was one of the things I was looking for. She never did it. Never followed the judge's order. And I thought, okay, well, that's fine. Judge is going to let that go, whatever. Because there was so many things that she did where they weren't huge. They weren't monumental, but they were enough if on its own somebody were to go, hey, how come the judge told you to read a parenting book and write a report on said book and turn it into the courts? How come you didn't do that? Nobody ever asked her. We never got to that point in court. It was just brushed off because it was one of those, look, we're fighting for custody. We're not arguing about whether or not she read a book. And it makes sense. So my lawyer did a fantastic job. Very proud of him. Very happy. It was very expensive, but
he was worth it.
He was worth it. Did a fantastic job.
And I don't think that the judge negated the fact that she didn't do that, didn't read the book or didn't take the courses. I think it was she never tried to take you back to court to get the kids back. It was, life just goes on.
Yeah.
So
she lied about the child claiming suicide, and then the judge denied her. So the judge said, nope, kids can still go. And I had made very clear. I was like, well, looks like you thought you were going to keep the kids from coming, but they're still coming here. So why don't you go ahead and get the ticket ready so that they can fly out here? Or I think I was supposed to provide the ticket or whatever, but it was something where that was going to happen. And there was only 10 days left. She went and got a lawyer. It's probably one of the smartest things she's ever done. Mm-hmm. The lawyer that she got a new judge that had no history, no knowledge, didn't know anything about the years of arguments, the manipulation that she did, the lying, had no clue.
Well, they waited until the original judge went on vacation.
Yes, the original judge that had said, nope, that kid's not suicidal. Go ahead and say. And we don't know if they intentionally did that or not because we don't have the facts, but it just happened to line up that way.
Coincidence.
But yeah, so got a new judge, and this new judge respectfully did the right thing. He or she, I can't remember, made the decision, said, oh, man, I don't want to send a kid to a dad if the kid's really scared and the kid wants to commit suicide. What happens if that kid does that? Now it's on me because I've kind of let it happen. So the judge made the right call.
Yeah.
Because they were uninformed.
Yeah.
Now, had they been more informed, they would have sided with me. And it's obvious because the first judge found out about this. And this was one of the conversations I remember having with my lawyer. He said he has never seen a judge physically throw things at the bench.
Yeah.
The judge was that mad. Red in the face mad. I remember those words. I was like, wow, that's a lot. I don't think that judge is very happy.
Well, yeah, because you see someone who's that manipulative and that sneaky.
Yeah. He called her out. I mean, it's just, you're doing this. So he threatened her and said, look, if I find out that you lied about this, about the whole suicide thing, so that you could keep the kids for the summer, I'm going to take the kids away from you. You're going to lose all of your parenting rights, and you're going to pay for his attorney. And he told her that. And years later, that's exactly what happened.
Yep.
I got full custody because it's a conglomerate of things.
Yeah.
I mean, I was doing the right things the right way.
Yeah.
And yes, I lost a summer. Yes, I lost 115 days of communication. Yes, she was filling their heads with, I'm a terrible person. The judge in this case and several magistrates, several people concurrently conclusively, whatever, they all agreed unanimously, hey, the father is better at supporting the children, not only financially, because she wasn't making anything, but he was the one that was telling the kids, hey, look, your mom still loves you. She's just, maybe she's not always making the right decisions. Still talk with her. Still give her the time of day. Still do this. It's okay to have a good relationship with your mom. It's okay. We might not agree, and that's true. And I was being honest with them. I mean, at that point, they're like, what, 12, 13, 14?
Yeah.
You don't try and sugarcoat stuff to a 14-year-old. You can just say, look, this is the way it is. We can explain things later, which I did tell them. Hey, look, when you're 18, I'm going to tell you a few more things that you might not know. And this is kind of part of that. So if you're listening, here it is. The mother decided that it was best to always, or not always talk bad, but rarely talk good about me. And it was documented. The court system was very diligent, was very concise, very clear. They said the mother is not likely to support a good relationship with the father. However, the father is much better at supporting a good relationship with the mother. This, keep in mind, folks, is kind of this is the base building block of why the kids are the way they are today. Because I was always supporting my ex-wife. Oh, maybe a little too much. Maybe I kept telling them, hey, she's not a bad person. Which, in reality, I still don't think she's a bad person. I think she made a lot of bad decisions. And that doesn't make you a bad person. Yeah. No? You agree? Disagree?
I'm just going to keep my mouth shut.
We'll do that for legal reasons.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So that was one of the things. So she was ordered to pay attorney's fees. This was a clear indication that the judge felt as though she did something malicious. Now, judges don't order attorney's fees just to order them. It's usually in the case where somebody maliciously says, you hurt my neck. My neck is terrible because of you. And that person wasn't even there, wasn't even involved. Yeah, that's a malicious thing. And that's exactly what happened. She was maliciously getting a judge to think that the kids were scared and that they were too scared to be around me, blah, blah, blah. So the judge said, no, you have to pay this. And the way it was worded is it was a judgment, not an order. And for those of you that don't know, listening and watching, a judgment is something that a judge can do, but it's not an order. So if the judge says, I'm giving you a judgment awarded for money, that's not telling the person that they have to pay. That's not telling the other person that they have to pay. They're telling the person asking, yes, you can collect it.
Yeah.
Those are different. So when people get judgments, they are awarded, it's usually a dollar amount.
Yeah.
And it's your responsibility to go get that money.
Doesn't mean you're going to get it.
It doesn't mean you're going to get it. It just means you're allowed to collect it.
Yeah.
However, in whatever means is necessary. And that's actually the wording that I used to explain to her, because for years, she said, I don't owe you attorney's fees because my lawyer said that. And I said, okay, so you have a document that is a minute order that specifically says this judgment is no longer valid. You got that for me? I'd like to take a look at it. I'd like to see it. What document do you have? I don't need a document because it says, so, and what she did is she twisted the last bit of it to make it look like if it's not explicitly written in here, it doesn't count. Which that part is in there, but that's not what that's talking about.
That's what she always does, though.
So she reads what she wants to read, and then there it is. So I had this judgment, 5 years, just outright refusal. For about 3 years, she just straight up refused to tell me that she even owed the money.
She refused everything. 100%. She refused to help with the boys' clothing, food, school supplies. Let's talk
about the beginning.
Anything.
When I got custody in October of 2018, I was here in Kentucky and she was in Arizona. And guess what the weather was like? It was not warm. Not necessarily warm.
It was October in Kentucky.
October. So folks, in October, it's not really...
Sorry, my drink was sour.
It's not really warm, but it's not really cold. But winter is days away.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking October, end of October. So I went to Arizona to pick up our boys, and she was there. She followed the orders of the judge, basically saying, you lost custody, you lost all decision-making rights, and he also ordered her to undergo a full psychological evaluation to better understand why she so firmly believes that the father is an abuser when there's consistent documentation indicating otherwise.
I just now realized, it just now came to my brain that works sometimes. She didn't go do the evaluation because she knew that it was a lie. She knew the reason why she said you were abusive was for Disneyland.
Right.
So that's why she never went.
And it makes smart. So she is smart in a sense, but it's a manipulative smart.
Manipulative, and she's narcissistic. And I'm going to say that here for everybody and whoever's listening.
Yep.
And I hope you're listening.
Oh, yeah.
Call me.
Gotcha.
Call me.
Call me.
We're going to have that conversation I was talking about.
I like making little noises in the microphone. Having fun with that. So, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to read a few of these things. And so we talked about the 115 days. At one point, there was some visitation. So, yeah, she was ordered to undergo a full psychological evaluation before she can ask for unsupervised time. So, in other words, everything. In the court, I even kept that highlighted section because she would regularly claim, it doesn't say that you can keep the kids on speakerphone. Well,
Unsupervised.
What is unsupervised contact?
That's
Contact.
anything without another...
I mean, contact includes face-to-face, includes over the phone, includes email, includes written letters, includes...
Telephone was one of the worst because, remember, she taught the boys the code word.
Oh, that's right.
And every time she talked to them on the phone, even
she would
when
ask
we were
them
listening,
the
she would
secret code
ask
word.
them how that secret word
Yep.
was doing.
Yep. She would do a secret code word to try and get the boys to say that I was an abuser.
Yes. She would try to, mind you, this is a name of an animal.
Yeah. She would,
and she would
work.
try to, how is blah, blah, blah doing?
So she did that, and she was told, hey, look, it has to be supervised. And the rule has to be somebody either licensed by the state of Kentucky or someone that both parties agree with. Well, guess what? Since I'm the one that has custody and I'm not the one that's being, I'm not the one that the concern is over on supervision. It's my choice.
Yeah.
I get to decide who's a good, safe person.
She did not
or
like
persons.
the person that you went
So she
with.
wanted to visit the boys, and I had told her, hey, there's it was something where we were traveling, and there was a time where we could meet up, but we weren't going to be there for very long in the first place, so it was almost impossible for us to set this up. But I thought, you know what? Let me make sure that, if they're going to be there and I'm going to be there, let's try and get at least a couple hours so she can see the boys, they can see her.
Well, we had to because she was bringing their stuff.
Was that they were meeting us? Okay.
Yeah.
So, but either way.
Well, she said, but I don't think there was anything actually.
Yeah. I don't think she brought anything. Mm-hmm. I think it was just a ruse. But anyway, she was supposed to get someone licensed by the state, which I was like, okay, find someone that's licensed by the state. You do the work. I'm not calling out people. And she would always be like, I can't find anyone. I was like, well, that's not my problem. I mean, you have to find someone that's licensed by the state, because I can't. If you find someone that's licensed by the state, I don't have a say in it, because it says, or someone that you both agree with. So if you find someone that's licensed by the state, then it's out of my hands.
Yeah.
But if you can't find someone that's licensed by the state, then it is in my hands, and then I get to be the ultimate decider of whether or not I feel as though that person is trustworthy to be around the kids, and they're not going to let her talk to the kids in a way that's like suggesting that I'm an abuser, which is the entire point on why the court was so concerned and stressed. I mean, why else would the court order a full psychological evaluation? They were truly worried.
Oh, yeah.
They saw something. Courts don't do that.
That's why you got full custody.
That's why I
of the
got full
boys.
custody.
And I don't know if he mentioned, he actually, at the time that he was going to court, he was not at that time asking for full custody yet. He was just
Nope.
asking to
Just to
fix
get my
his
time back.
just his time. So it was a phone call at Home Depot at what, 7:30?
Yeah, it was something really weird. I was like, huh? Who's calling me? Why
he
is my
found
lawyer
out.
calling me? Yeah. It was a weird phone call.
Yeah.
Bittersweet because, I know that the kids are going to miss their mom. I knew that.
Oh yeah. She's
But
their mom. That
So
can
I
never
showed
be
up.
changed.
Yeah. So the order was clear. It was set out. I'm going to pick them up. They're going to live with me now. This is it. October 2018. Not really summer. That's over. It's going to be winter real quick. And she knew that I was going to have them. Now, 12-year-old kids, they're probably only going to have those clothes for 6 months, maybe a year, and then they're going to outgrow them. Mm-hmm. So she knew that there's no way that the clothes that were in her house were going to work, even if she were to get a new judge that said, no, let's change it all back. If she were to undo all that stuff, that takes time.
Yeah.
She knows in her head, hey, look, this takes time. I'm probably not going to be able to have these clothes fit them when they come back. Why not send them with the dad? No, she didn't do that. She wanted me to struggle absolutely as much as possible. I truly believe that her goal was to make it so that it was the most financially taxing thing that she could do. So they showed up in flip-flops, shorts, and a short sleeve shirt with holes in it.
Yep.
I know because I have pictures.
Yep.
But most of the pictures are of them laughing and smiling, having a good time.
They were happy, so they weren't bad pictures in the long run. I think she actually told them that they'd be coming home soon too. I think that was another reason why she told them they weren't taking their stuff.
That's not the case. Yeah. So she
and just so you know, we're not here to badmouth her like this. That's why a name hasn't been mentioned, at least from me. This is just the frustration. Yeah. And there really are people / parents out there like this.
Yeah.
And
they manipulate the kids to hurt the other parent. And that's sad.
Well, I just don't understand disliking the other parent so bad or being that upset that they're remarried with somebody else or whatever.
Yep.
I don't.
Okay.
Okay.
Moving on. So, she refused acknowledging the judge's judgment, not an order, a judgment for the attorney's fees. So I had this big chunk of money that she owed me, and that would have helped. I mean, she was not paying any child support. My child support was set to 0.
Yeah.
Hey, you get your kids. We know the mom's not working.
Yeah.
But she doesn't need to pay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's where the whole issue with dad's struggle to get child support.
Yeah. I was told that I could not ask for a recalculation until a certain time period because either something significant has to happen. Like if she got a new job that was like $100,000 a year, I could go to the court and say, look, something big happened. I need to change child support. Or I have to wait that it's a year and a half to 2 years or something before you can. And that's that way for a purpose.
Yeah.
It's so that people don't constantly go to court. I need more money. And there has to be a reason.
Yeah.
There has to be a legitimate legal reason for you to say something is different. We've been doing this for a while. And now all of a sudden, something's different.
Yeah.
Maybe one of the kids contracted a life disease like cancer, and now all of a sudden they need super big treatment. Okay, now the mom or non-custodial parent would have to help with the finances of that.
Yeah.
That would be a life-changing thing. But just sitting there, no. So I had to wait. So I waited.
And wait.
And waited. And then when I moved, when I was here, I decided, you know what? I've been struggling a lot from 2018 until 2020. I waited from October of 2018 until January of 2020. And in January, I made the decision, I'm going to fight for custody. I'm sorry.
You mean child
support. I'm going to fight for child support. I felt as though that was not safe
and
or fair.
What he means by struggling, I actually filled in for what she should have been doing. He wasn't struggling to the point that he was financially strapped. What he meant by struggling is he felt like, as far as the dynamic with those two, with you
but
and
I also
her.
did struggle financially. I mean, I spent thousands, and it was over.
Well, you did
10,000,
especially when they first got here, and then their braces and stuff. So you were,
yeah.
but I paid for a lot of their stuff as well.
Yeah.
But I had no problem doing that because I am not their bio mom, but I'm their mom.
Yeah, you care. I mean, it's clear.
You buy my children's stuff.
Yeah.
You buy, our.
It's no different.
There is no difference.
So, okay, so that refused. This is a little earlier. This was how and why I'm not perfect, folks. I am not the perfect dad, father, ex-husband, whatever. There are reasons I do and did things the way I did to protect our kids. And this is one of them. And this might make some of you mad. And I'm sorry, but not sorry. And here's what happened. I was given orders. I was still in Arizona. And I was given, orders are official documents from the military. And they must, technically, they're supposed to give you orders at least 30 days out. I had the rumor that I was going to go to another duty station way back in like December. But I didn't get official orders until the middle of April to go May 1st. And I was like, 2 weeks is not enough time. Folks, they were going to have me go from Arizona to Hawaii. That's not enough time to plan your entire household goods, your vehicle, your everything. Everything you know and exist is going to be across a major ocean. Mm-hmm. Huge. I mean, 2 weeks is just not enough time. So I requested an extension. And that extension was for I think the end of May, early June. So that they gave me an additional. So my total time now is 45 days. Legally speaking, according to the Arizona law, I was required to tell her or the courts or both. I don't remember the exact wording on that, but the requirement that I'm talking about is a time requirement. 60 days. I'm supposed to tell her and the courts officially, hey, I'm moving, 60-day notice. I can't do that if the Army only gives me 45 days.
Yeah.
I can't help that.
Yeah.
It's beyond my control. I can't do that. So I was told, hey, you got to do this. I looked into the law, and the law says, and it was these are the rules, and unless you have these exceptions, and it lists all the exceptions. Well, one of the exceptions, I remember it was H, whatever H of the other ones. H was basically saying if there's already a written agreement between both parties involving specifically when to notify the other parent of a move, then you don't need to wait. Then you don't need to do it within 60 days. So I looked at the documentation that I had, which was the divorce decree, which is a legal document. It's a written document. It's written down, and it's an agreement between both parties, and it was signed by a judge, so it was official. Yeah. This is official. Here it is. And it said right in there, each party will notify the other parent of a move before they move. Just says before. Doesn't say time. Like, hey, we got the truck loaded up. That's before.
We're getting ready to pull. We're getting ready to get on the plane.
Or 5 days, up to 5 days after they move.
Yeah.
Now, she did the same thing to me, but it was malicious in a way that she just moved and didn't want me to know that she moved, and then she told me afterwards. Well, I feel it was malicious. It may not have been. It may just have been it slipped her mind all those times that I called that she forgot to tell me, hey, there's a whole bunch of people packing up all our stuff, and I'm got to buy a new house, and we're doing this, we're doing that, we're moving, blah, 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 blah,
well, she
blah,
didn't
blah,
tell us when she moved to
from one part
Cali either,
yeah.
Did she?
Well, it was after. It was the after. She waited until the after. So I looked at it and I thought, okay, well, I moved and I did have 45 days. But the reason I did not tell her. And this is how I concocted this wild story.
He was feeling saucy that day.
It's pretty creative. This is like a Columbo. Ooh, it's a great one. So I decided, and now my kids are 7. I think they were 7 when I was moving. I moved from Arizona.
We're going to hear the noise.
To Hawaii.
I didn't make the noise.
Oh, okay. Well,
Okay.
hi. It's me now.
Hi.
I got the whole camera to myself. Okay. I was supposed to move from Arizona to Hawaii, and are you making fun of me?
No.
Oh.
I'm going to go to the little.
Did you pause it?
Want to take a break? No. Do you
Oh.
want to take a break, or do you want to keep going? Because I know this is your.
You can go to the bathroom. I'll just talk.
All right, that's fine.
All right, folks. She's gonna go to the bathroom. I'm just gonna talk. I can say whatever I want now.
I have good ears. Thank you very much.
Which is, of course, gonna be nothing
I
wrong.
told him I have good ears, and he knows that. So if he talks bad about me, I'm going to hear him.
I think she listens to this too. So
Yes, I do.
No.
And I'm hoping you guys will tell me.
So I went to Hawaii under military orders. I was given a 45-day notice. I decided that because the boys were 7 years old, they were pretty young, it's not right for me to let the kids lie to their mother. That's totally wrong. And it's not their job. It's not their job to get in the middle of this. So I lied to my children, and I told them, we're going camping. I also lied to my ex-wife and told her we are going camping. I did this to protect everyone, including my ex-wife, because I knew that there had been times that she had made rash decisions without really thinking things through that could have massive impacts on all of our lives. One of the examples, and I'll give this real quick, is Alice, my ex-wife, and I had gotten into an argument, and the military was real big on making sure there's no domestic violence. That's very important. Don't hit your spouse. Better communication is what eliminates fighting. If you can communicate better, that's the way to go. We had been in an argument, and she had decided to lie to the company commander that I was AWOL because I wouldn't answer her phone calls when she was mad. So we got into an argument, and I knew that the best thing for me to do was just part ways. I'm going to go take a walk, go for a drive, clear my head, calm down, come back later, deal with the argument later, let cooler heads prevail. And that's a very good solution to a temporary flare-up of anger. Let cooler heads prevail. Just take a break. So I did that. And I immediately got a phone call from my first line supervisor. He's like, hey, where you at? I was like, just driving around. Why? Well, your ex-wife, well, no, she was still married at the time. Your wife called, said that you were AWOL. I'm not AWOL. I'm still on base. Like, I'm just driving around. We got into an argument. I don't want to be around her. I just need some time. He was like, oh, I'll let the commander know. Okay. Well, I have that in writing, folks. So that's, there's no way she can avoid that one. That's very clear. That's what she did. She lied to the commander, and I got written up for it. Not necessarily punished, but documented. And it was important that they document stuff like this because of things that happen in the future. So they documented the fact that she had lied about me going AWOL. And I was concerned about that behavior happening again when I was going to Hawaii. She was very manipulative, very vindictive. I felt like she was going to do whatever she could to stop me from doing what I'm supposed to be doing according to the military. So I lied to her and said, we're going camping. We're going in an area that doesn't have cell phone reception. How about, because she had phone calls, I think it was weekly. She would call them on Sundays and Wednesdays. That's what it's bi-weekly, twice a week. So she would call on Sundays and Wednesdays, and I told her, hey, look, we're going to be leaving on Sunday, and then we're not going to get back till a little bit after the next Sunday. So instead of Wednesday, we'll just do like an extra long time frame or whatever on the before or after Sunday. And so that's the way it was supposed to go. So I told her that, and I did the same thing to our boys. And I said, hey, we're going camping, and you're not going to be able to talk to your mom. And they were all excited. And then, the next day, the movers show up, because me trying to tell the kids, 7 years old, don't tell your mom that we're moving. And then mom gets on the phone. 10 seconds later, she would say, so what are you guys doing? They're going to say, well, there's a couple guys here loading up all our stuff in boxes. And that's not the conversation that I wanted to happen. So that's why I told both my ex and the boys that we were going to go camping and that there was no signal. When it came time for the truck to get there to start packing up stuff, that's when I told the boys the truth of that we're not going to go camping. We're actually moving. They were, of course, excited. They were, oh, Hawaii, that's pretty cool. Beaches, sand, water everywhere, waterfalls, beautiful place. And she knew, or they knew that they were going to be there. That was their focus. They did not focus on whether or not mom was calling. They completely forgot about Wednesday calls, everything. So it was just kind of I did this to protect them. It's not their job to lie to her. It's my job to deal with the consequences. And I wanted to make sure that my career was safe, that she was not going to say I went AWOL again. So I did it, and I knew that I was still technically following the law, because the law says I have to let her know either before we move or up to 5 days after. And the minute we landed in Hawaii, I called her and informed her that I had moved to Hawaii. Now, I did this immediately for obviously two reasons. One is I was required to by law, but also I needed her to understand that the boys were still going back with her at the end of summer. I was not kidnapping the kids. I was not taking them away from her so that she couldn't see them. In fact, there was still going to be the Wednesday and Sunday phone calls. It was just going to be a time difference, and they were in a new location. And this also gave her, this happened in early May, so she would have had about 2.5 to 3 months to plan for how they were going to get from Hawaii back to Arizona. So that process, it was a logistics nightmare. But I got the kids there, and they were, understanding, hey, this is a totally different lifestyle. I mean, it's different in Hawaii. Cars everywhere, traffic, and it's warm, so it's nice, beautiful weather, just a whole different environment. New foods, fun stuff in Hawaii. So that's why I chose to lie, and she ended up going to the judge and kind of like, shame on you, you lied. And I wasn't going to lie about lying, so I was like, yes, I did. But I followed the law. And she had convinced a judge at the time that was wrong. That I was, and morally speaking, I was wrong. What I did is morally wrong. I lied to my ex-wife and my children. But the purpose of why I lied was to protect them, because if she would have said that I would have went AWOL, there would have been an investigation, or if she would have stopped me from going, that would have caused me to go kind of AWOL, because I would have what's called missed movement. I would have missed my movement, and that could have caused, UCMJ, non-judicial punishment. I could have lost my security clearance. I could have lost my career in the military. I could have lost everything, all because she wanted to prevent me from going when that was my job anyways. I was supposed to go. It was not like I asked for Hawaii.
Well, she could have said that you went AWOL or were planning on going AWOL, but when they saw your Hawaii tickets, they would have known different. So that actually would have bit her in the butt.
Yeah. But the judge did say, hey, listen, that's kind of wrong. I shouldn't let this go unpunished. I'm going to make you pay for the entire trip for her to pick the boys back up, which is at the end of the summer. Now, I was already required to pay half. That was already the out-of-pocket expenses portion of our divorce decree and our parenting time, all that. So I was already required to pay for half of the thing. it was $1,800 was the total. So I would have only had to pay $900. So I asked the judge, hey, can I make payments on these $900, split them up for 12 months, which I did, and I made those payments. And I did that for two reasons. One is I can't be punished again for the same thing. No judge can come back and go, that was bad, I'm going to add more punishment. No, it's already done.
It's double jeopardy.
Yes. And so I wasn't worried about it. And it would have cost me probably 3 or more hours in legal fees to argue that I was right. So if my legal fees are $350 an hour, 2 hours, I'm already at $700. If I go more than 2.5 hours, it costs me more to argue to say that I'm saving the $900, and I'm spending more money on the legal fees than I am of the money that I'm spending it. So I thought it's just a wash. I'll just pay the money and do it and be done with it. So,
but you had already accepted that you knew that you were
morally
wrong.
Morally wrong, and that was
yeah.
fine, and I'm okay with that.
But
so
you had reasons to be wrong. 'Cause
exactly.
She had already hollered that you'd went AWOL after she tried to beat you up.
Yep. And actually, I have photo documentation of a time that, I was not very nice. I may have actually been intoxicated, and I said something that she was mad at, and she decided to punch me in the face, and I got a big old fat swollen lip, and I mean, it was just right there. Guys at the military company kind of made fun of me a little bit, you know. Oh, your wife got the first punch, huh? But yeah, and then at that point, that's when they had ordered me, because they can't order her to do anything. They ordered me to undergo, what's that class called?
Anger management.
Anger management.
Yes.
So I went to there. I went to the class, did what I was supposed to do. You know, I'm gonna follow my instructions until given newer instructions, or if it's illegal. Just do what you're told. Got it. Check. Did that. Went to the class. The instructor pulled me aside at the end of the first class. He's like, hey, listen, I understand you're here to support your wife. That's really cool. But we'll just work with her and get everything done. And I looked at him and I was like, she's not the one that's ordered here. I am. He was just like, well, she's the problem. I was like, yeah, you and I know this, but she doesn't. I got to come back.
Telling her that.
Yeah, so I had to come back. One of the neat things that I learned in that class, folks, is you can't make somebody else mad. And I'm going to go into that just a tiny bit, just a little caveat. You can't make someone mad. Now, there's a difference between if I say something, like, for example, I'm going to say something to my wife that's going to make her mad. No, I'm going to say something to my wife that could upset her. I know things that would upset you. And if I said them, you know, I could say hurtful things to you. And that could, in turn, make you mad in a sense that it's upsetting and you have an initial reaction. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the prolonged, past the momentary shock of being upset. That's what I'm talking about. That point of being mad. You can't force that upon anybody. And if people think that that's not true, I'm just going to switch up the word mad with another emotion called love. Can you make somebody love you?
No.
No, you can't.
We are in control of our own emotions.
Absolutely.
And it's up to us to decide if we're going to get mad. Like, I'm not going to say circumstances, but like last night, I could have chosen to get mad.
Yeah.
But I didn't. Why?
Because, you know, I was probably just making a stupid mistake.
You were just blowing smoke out
A little bit
your
of
mouth.
drinky.
Yeah,
a little bit drinky.
Drinky.
Little bit of
so
mouthy.
It's been a long time, and we had company over, our oldest son and another friend, actually one that we have discussed. And they came over, we played cards. And
fun game, too.
Yeah, he said a couple things, and I'm just like, oh, okay.
But it wasn't
this morning.
Again,
no, it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
No. And this morning when we woke up, we discussed it. I told him, and he's like, I apologize.
We had a civil conversation.
Yeah.
Exactly what I've been telling people. If you have better communication, it's better than getting into a fight and argument, and you will resolve your issues smoothly.
Like, so I did try to bring it up last night, but it didn't go
Timmy
very
wasn't listening
far.
last night.
No, Timmy wanted to get upset, and I just like, it's okay, hon. I love you. I'm not saying it's okay. We'll discuss it tomorrow, and we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So, okay, back to
the...
I'm trying to bring goodness into this conversation.
No, this whole like... You know, I mean, I get it, folks. This is 9 years, 10 years of struggling.
He has been waiting for this podcast to do this, and I'm all like, okay, yes. He's like,
folks,
can I? I'm like,
this
yes.
is such a relief to be able to speak things in a sense of it's getting off my chest.
Yes.
It's not. I don't mean to do this in anger, folks. This is It's not an anger thing.
And he's not. Just so you know, we're not purposely bad mouthing her. Like just because we want to make stuff up. She loves her children.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
absolutely.
There's not a doubt about that. She probably just does not love them in the healthiest way. I guess that's a way to say that.
There's just some bad decision making for sure.
Yeah.
All right. So, at one point, the judge, one of the judges, because I've had like 3 or 4 different judges, because this thing's taken so long.
It's just been all over the place.
At one point, the judge ordered her to hold the phone up to the kid's ear. I think I kind of started to talk about that, but never really told.
Yeah, we touched on that.
Yep, and I talked about the agreement that her and I made for perfectly split time. We talked about that. Visitation time with, I'm just going to use his first name, Andy. Andy is a person that had previously testified against me in court saying that I was a child abuser. I mean, he had no direct evidence. There was no, like, did you witness anything? Did you hear anything? Did you see anything?
And
there was nothing.
The
it was
judge
all
even
speculation.
asked him. He's like, no, and the judge is pretty much get off my stand.
Yeah, you're not here for factual information. It's all hearsay.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming, but you wasted your time.
Yeah.
That person, who I'm just going to use his first name, Andy, him and his wife were the choice of supervisors that Alice had for that little bit of time when I had mentioned earlier about going up, and then we were traveling and we were trying to make time so that she could still spend a little bit of time with him. She said, remember, we're going back to the whole, it has to be a state licensed supervisor for visiting, parenting time visitation, or someone that both parties agree with. Well, guess what?
They were not acceptable.
I did not agree with somebody that testified against me saying that I was a child
it's not
abuser.
just him testifying. It's his wife is best friends with her.
Yeah.
And
so there was a
she's always listen to what her said.
Very, what's that, confirmation bias?
Yeah.
It's too much of a concern, and it protects her. It really does.
But the irony is he did apologize to you.
Yes.
He actually, and him
I don't know
and
if that's ironic, but it's definitely,
no, but him and I had a conversation, and because he actually, the cloth was, he pulled the cloth away from
he
his
was
eyes.
like, "Whoa, that's you're definitely not an abuser."
Yeah, he apologized.
Yeah, so that was, I appreciate Andy for doing that, and and I did not blame him. It was not his fault for just showing up. He's getting fed half the information.
He's probably listening to his wife.
Yeah, which she's of course getting from
bad information.
So she told me, hey, he was going to be the one, and I said, no, he's not. That's we're going to find someone else. And so she had offered her foster dad. Now, I had talked to her foster dad a few times, and not only her foster dad was kind of on my side, if you want to say he was pulling sides, he understood where I was at, and he could relate. He could relate with me in this situation. So he knew that it wasn't anything, I could trust him, and I knew that he was a person that I could trust. And part of that trust is knowing that both him and his wife, who is now deceased, she has passed a while back, Alice's stepmom, the stepmom regularly told me and my mother that Alice lied a lot. Like, she was a very manipulative teenager. She lied, was not honest at all. And so that, I wish I could have had her testify, because that would have been like, oh, geez, your own foster mom is saying that you're kind of make some bad decisions. You know, that's not good. But she had passed. I had said that he was okay. So we drove there to meet. This was at a public park. We'll just leave it at that. Public park, halfway between a point or whatever we were going. It was just an agreed upon point, location. We get there, and lo and behold, it's not her stepdad. No, it's Andy and his wife. Mm-hmm. That's not what we agreed to. So why is she doing this? Why do you think she did this? Control? Refusal to cooperate? I mean, it's something.
I know why, but I can't say it on air.
Okay. So that was another incident.
I'm working really hard on myself and being nice.
Well, you don't necessarily have to be nice, but you have to be factual. And we're going to keep this as straight to...
And this is also a clean podcast.
Yeah, so. We're not trying to say a person is a bad person. We're just saying this is what happened.
She was just trying to manipulate the situation, is what it was.
Okay, so that was... I'm going to come back to... Remind me to come back to child support calculation, because that's another thing. How and why I lied about moving to Hawaii. Talked about that. Lied about going AWOL. Talked about that. Punched me in the face. Talked about that. She was kicked out of the company area by the commander for 30 days. I have documentation of this. She mouthed off to the company commander, which is an 03 in the military, and he put her in her place, said, ma'am, you are not allowed on the company property. 30 days. Goodbye.
And that is pretty hard to do as a spouse. I know.
It's pretty easy for her.
To military twice. My ex-husband and my beautiful, handsome husband now.
Kicked out of the military. Out of the company area.
That's hard to do. That's even active duty soldiers don't.
She was the family readiness group leader. Her direct role was to talk to the company commander specifically about going downrange, soldiers that were downrange, wives that were back home, or husbands, because wives went downrange too. There's men and women. She
wasn't after that, was she?
I don't know.
Yeah, I can't see her getting kicked off and then coming back and him allowing her to be, because that's a big rule.
He allowed her. I thought you meant, was she doing it to try and...
No, the FRG.
No. She was still doing it. In fact, he was clear. He said, look, unless this has to deal with FRG, you're not allowed on the property. So he was still like... Yeah. He accepted the fact that she had a role to play, and he didn't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
He had a problem with her personality and how she came at him and like basically ran her mouth to somebody that she had no idea who she was talking to. Like, you don't do that.
I mean, I bumped shoulders with command on post, but that's only because I was their favorite person on post.
Yeah. So she was kicked out of the company area by the commander for 30 days. Yeah. I decided in late 2008. Now, I deployed to Iraq in December of 2007. I didn't see... Well, I came home for R&R in the middle of 2008, just for like a couple weeks for leave. And then I went back, and then I was there until May of 2010. So a year, 15 months, 14 months, something like that. One day, I decided to look in my checking account. Now, when you're downrange and you're making money, you're probably getting most of it tax-free. So you're not paying taxes, which you're in a combat zone. You're also getting family separation. You're also getting hazard duty pay, and you're also getting a combat pay, depending on if you're in a combat location. So there's hazard duty and combat and family separation, and the BAH, basic allowance for housing, BAS, basic allowance for sustenance, which is food, plus your base pay. nearly all of it tax-free. I was making some money.
Mm-hmm.
I went through the checking account and realized I was not making some money. I mean, I was making it, but it wasn't staying. I had to go through and really revamp, find out where my money was going. At one point, I decided, why is she going to Starbucks and McDonald's? Wait a minute. How many times? So I thought, let me wrap my head around this. Let me get this right. Let me go on the 1st of this month to the 31st or 1st of the next month. Got all the information. I started adding it all up. Now, mind you, this is back in 2008. So
when things were a lot
why don't you
cheaper.
Google it? Well, I can Google this. How much was $500 in 2008 in today's money?
It was $700.
How much is
$700, not $500.
okay? Okay, inflation calculator. No, I don't want 1914. That's way different.
If we were live, I could have done a raise.
Okay.
$700
in 2008 equals $1,022.31 in today's money. So whatever it was at the time, I had figured. So keep in mind, if you're downrange watching this and you go through your bank account and all of a sudden you see $1,022.31 gone on Starbucks and McDonald's, somebody might have a problem.
Yeah.
Just saying, somebody might need to dial it back just a little bit. $1,000 a month.
And that was just on McDonald's
coffee.
and Starbucks.
And
That's not on everything else.
No idea what all the other stuff was. But I became super controlling. I was not controlling. What I did is I said,
an allowance.
I gave her an allowance that I asked her to calculate. Hey, take up all the receipts that you can think of for a whole month for groceries. Now, when I say groceries, I mean umbrella term: cat food, dog or cat litter, sponges, paper towel, whatever. Not just food, but like everything you need that's not phone bill, electric, internet.
Yeah.
Hard bills. And I asked her, I said, how much do you need in this stuff? How much do you need per month? And she said, $200. I was like, that's not enough. So I immediately said, let me give you $400. And I'm still paying all the bills. I'm paying house payment, car payment, insurance, everything.
Yeah, you're still paying for everything.
All that's I'm still able to do because, it's not like World War II when you have to write home letters. I could actually get on the internet and pay bills and stuff. So it's not like it's impossible for me to survive over there. But I talked to her and I said, how much do you think is fair? And she said 200. And I said, let me give you 400 because I think that's low. 400 might even been low.
Yeah.
According to this, $200 in 2008 is about $292. So let me change it to 400, recalculate. It's about $584 in today's money for just food for the month. Yeah. Now, that's not very much.
So I just had a ding, ding, ding brain moment. You know why she told you that, Lo? For the same reason she goes around and tells people, he put me on an allowance and it was only $200.
Yeah,
That's
likely.
why she did that.
She did it so that I would be the bad guy.
Yeah. I just had that ding, ding, ding moment.
So, I tried to talk to her, but I was apparently the bad guy because I restricted her money. No, all I did was make it so that and I told her, I was like, look, if you go over the 400, tell me what you need so that we can go out and get it.
Yeah.
I'm not like, oh, you need food? Should have thought about it.
Yeah.
I'm not like that.
And he's not.
That's stupid.
He's really not.
So I provided, I made sure that things were provided for. So that started a whole new how I finance my money. Okay, Starbucks and McDonald's, we talked about that.
No, that just started a whole new way on how you controlled her. Get it right.
Yeah.
Timothy.
Yeah, I was super controlling.
Yeah.
Which is why I got a phone call when I was in Iraq on my second tour where she said, as soon as you come home, I'm leaving you. Now, she didn't say, I'm leaving you because I found someone else. But when I started digging into it, like, why? And it turned out that was the reason.
Yeah.
She had met somebody, nice guy, he's very respectful. They started to become more friends. And at one point, when was the time that my oldest two were supposed to fly down? Because that's, what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So at one point, we'll fix the timeline
Yeah.
later. Y'all can figure it out.
Yeah.
At one point, we had a moment when I was supposed to.
I don't know how y'all are going to figure it out. I don't know how they're going to figure it out.
Maybe they got chalkboard. Dry erase board, maybe? I don't know, because chalk is old.
Use a wall.
Well, anyway, so what was I saying? Oh,
We were talking about the
boys.
kiddos and
So I had two older boys that were supposed to come and visit for visitation.
I think you told us already. But
Well, I'll tell it again.
not today. Yeah.
It's
Do
getting
it.
told.
Do it.
You're
Add
gonna
another
hear
part
it.
of the story.
I only had my Jeep, and there was not enough room for me to get the boys, the older boys, who were, 10 and 12, I think?
I think so. Yeah.
10 and 12. First time flying on a plane, going to see Dad. And I couldn't pick them up because she had to fly, or she was up in this other part of Arizona, and I was in the lower part, 3 hours away. I said, I can't pick them up because they're going to have stuff. They're going to have their bags. And I got no storage area. There's just no space in the Jeep. So she was going to pick them up in the van and bring them down to me, and that was the agreement. They arrived in the airport at like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
First time being on a plane, first time going anywhere. It was, what do they call that? Unaccompanied minor.
Yeah.
So I had to pay the fee. The older of the two was not an unaccompanied minor because he was 12. And that was what the cutoff was. So if you're 11 or under, so including 11.
And under. Yeah,
11 and under. Yeah.
And under.
A lemon, yep.
Yes.
If you're a lemon, make lemonade. So they would have to have an unaccompanied minor fee. So I only had to pay that once. They came, they arrived, and they had cell phones, so we call, and I'm like, okay, she should be there in a little bit. Hang up. 20 minutes later, Dad, she's not here yet. Huh. All right. I'll try calling her. You guys have tried calling her, right? Yeah, we have. Okay, so she's not answering. All right, well, let's figure this out. An hour goes by. No answer. This is 11 o'clock at night. I don't know what to do. I don't have the ability. I mean, I could drive up there and just hang out with them until she showed up. I guess I could have done that. But I didn't know what to do, as far as that wasn't really solving the problem. So I tried calling, and I tried calling again, and I tried calling again. And I tried texting. No answer, no answer, no answer. Turns out she was at a friend's house watching a movie on the couch.
And fell asleep.
Mm-mm. Yeah. Because anytime somebody has to go to an airport to pick up somebody, I'm super relaxed, and I always fall asleep.
And if she's sleeping that hard with the twins and his baby. No.
So this was... Yeah, they were, no. So it was a lie. She was at her now husband's house, which actually came into a conversation later. And I said, you guys should have only been dating for so long. And then she verbally said, well, we've been dating for 10 months. And when I did the math, the 10th month was when I was still in Iraq. I was like, that didn't add up right. Yeah, so.
He also told... there was a conversation where he was on, and he actually also told.
Yeah, I think he admitted that they were seeing each other before she even got divorced.
Yep.
And I didn't even argue I didn't even show up for court. I literally was like, okay, yep, you get this, I get this, and I agreed to everything. Like our divorce was super. It was like 90 days on the dot.
Nice.
She filed, said, I'm leaving you. This is what I want. I want to take this, and this. Kids are going to be with me from this time. You're going to get them this time. Holidays every other year, blah, blah, blah. I was like, yep, sounds good. She didn't get any alimony. She got no this. I still paid child support. I was like, yep, I understand. This is the way it's going to be. I'm okay with it. And so I agreed, and that was fine. October of 2012? Yeah. No, 2011. It was 2011. Done. No longer attached to her. Yeah. Got that done.
Yes. And now he's
Yep.
attached to me.
Got a new one.
Yeah,
So, yeah, throughout this, I'm just going to kind of go through what I said. I was not the best husband. I ended up drinking a lot, which caused probably a contributing factor of some of the arguments between her and I. So I was not perfect in any means. I'm not saying that I'm better. I'm not. I'm saying that I made some and a lot of better choices for myself, the kids, and even her. Believe it or not, because even that one of not telling her about moving to Hawaii, if she would have done something malicious and would have came back, it could have affected her huge.
Oh, yeah.
Way more than what I got.
Yeah.
I just got a slap on the wrist, and I was okay with that. That's fine. So, she refused to repay me all out-of-pocket costs for over 8 years. One excuse was that she didn't like the doctor that I took them to. So because of that, she was not responsible for her portion. This is when I took the kids to an LCPC, which is a licensed clinical pastoral counselor. They are licensed, but not in a sense of licensed to take insurance money. Those are two different things.
Yeah.
You can get a license to be a clinical pastoral counselor, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're required to take insurance, which is how a lot of the insurance billing and all that go to. She didn't like that. She didn't like him for whatever reason.
Think that she would.
Yeah. But I took the boys, and it was needed. They were going through a difficult time, and so I paid for 10 sessions out of pocket. I paid 100% of it. It was not cheap. It was like $550.
They actually did really good with it.
They did really
too.
well.
Yeah.
And
he was able to hone on what each one needed individually.
yeah, I'm going to real quick shout out, rest in peace, TJ, because he passed away.
Yes.
And thank you for everything that you've done for the community.
Yes.
And, we love you. We miss you. And
his wife both
truly
passed away
appreciate
within hours of each other.
Yeah, I truly appreciate everything that he did for not only my kids, but
For
a lot of kids.
Everybody.
He actually, a lot of people may or may not know him. He started a lot of the Special Olympic type things. I'm not going to go into details for legal reasons, but he was a very wonderful person, very, very level-headed, very easy to talk to, super easy. The boys love talking to him. Rest in peace, sir. Thank you.
If people are
Job
listening
well
to
done.
him that live around here in Kentucky, they probably know exactly who he is. So,
Yep, I'll just leave it at that.
very loved, very special.
Yep. She actually would regularly refuse. I just found it sparked my memory when I was looking for documents. I actually wrote out that she would regularly refuse to give me medical information about the boys. At one point, I had to request that the police officer would make her comply with the judge's order, and they didn't.
No,
they were like,
because
"Nah,
they don't have to.
Yeah, we're not. That's beyond
Yeah,
our
they
scope
don't
of
have to.
duty." Which sucks because refusal to follow a judge's order is called interfering with judicial proceedings, and that is a law that police officers can get into. But what they're doing is they're saying, "Nah, this is civil. Go to court."
They have so much they already have to
Right.
do. There's already so much on their plate that
Yep. This is something, I don't know if I even told you this, so you might be hearing this for the first time. I wrote a letter 1 year supporting Alice for nomination for Motherhood Award.
you did not tell me this. I'm going to turn it back. Okay.
Okay, so this is your first time hearing it. All right. I wrote a letter basically trying to get her an award for motherhood, like of the year or whatever.
Yeah.
You can see why she didn't win.
Yeah.
In it, I explained that the boys were 4 years old, and Alice bragged. I don't know why I wrote that. Well, this is probably why. She bragged about Matthew already having 19 head traumas. And Blake broke his leg while I was deployed. So, one child, 19 head traumas. The other one broke his leg. Oh, and the first one also had a broken arm under the supervision of the mother. And
Had he already, had he almost
I don't remember
drowned?
when. I don't remember. But at some point, he had a broken arm. He also almost drowned.
That's what I was saying, yeah.
Yep. So there was, a lot of sketchy medical problems happened when she had total full control. They were under her care and supervision. One kid breaks a leg, the other one breaks an arm, almost drowns, 19 head traumas. I think there might be a problem.
Yeah.
Maybe.
The burn.
Just saying. Oh, yeah. Yeah. He burned the bottom of his feet walking in the street in Arizona when it was like 100 degrees out and middle of the day, sun, cooking the pavement. And he ran
to get the hat that
that I gave him. So
because
obviously
he thought he left it at school.
He was so terrified that he was not going to be able to bring the hat that Daddy gave him.
Yeah, that he ran.
Yep.
Because she said she wasn't going to take him to school to get it.
She said, I'm not taking you to school. You can walk there.
So
he did.
He did.
Barefoot. And
she did not take him to the doctor. We had to take him to the doctor.
Right. We had to take him to the doctor.
When he got here, and he was on crutches for over a week.
He had these blisters like this thick all along the bottom of his foot.
The whole
We're talking
sole of his foot.
huge patches of blister where it had burned and it was, going through the healing process. But he had to step on that. He had to walk on that. She didn't get him crutches. She put him on the plane.
Did.
Right, but she put him on the plane.
Yeah.
Go to your dad's. Mm-hmm. And then here we are, like, oh, that's awful. So we had to get him a medical appointment, have him get it crutches. We had to get this stuff. What was that stuff called? It's
that Silverdine or
something. It's
yeah.
really good. If you ever have a burn, look this stuff up. It's like Silverdine or something.
I had to clean his feet and wrap his feet multiple times a day.
Yep.
Like he cried. It was so bad.
Yeah. But yeah.
But and I'm just going to throw this out there. Tim was the abusive one.
Still blows my mind how all these things. I got one little note here. I wrote that she intentionally crashed the minivan that we had because she wanted to get either an SUV or a nicer vehicle or a car or something. There was something. She spoke to me the week before this accident happened and was like, man, I'm tired of this van. I want to get something else. And I told her, I was like, we got payments on this thing. We're just gonna have to deal with this for a little bit longer. Just hold tight. We'll figure something out. And then a week later, she runs a light, and then the way that it was like one of those where I think she looked at the situation and thought, okay, if I go, they're still going to hit me, but they're only going 10 or 15, and maybe it'll damage the car enough to total it. And that's exactly what happened. She proceeded through an intersection where neither party was at fault, but it totaled the vehicle, and she got a new vehicle out of it. So that was what happened. Yeah. Let me go through and read these.
He's going to read some more.
Judge ordered her to hold the phone up to the kid's ears. Talk about that. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. It's been 9 years, folks. I've had to deal with a lot of this crap for 9 years. I've struggled. It's been a very, very challenging struggle. She was ordered by a judge in California to go get a job, and she said, I can't because I can't work. And the judge was like, why can't you work? And she said, because I'm a homeschool mom. He said, that's not a reason that you can't work. That's you don't want to work.
Yeah.
And he called her out. He was like, look, you're going to go get a job, or we're just going to calculate child support based on what you could be earning, and then you can figure out how you're going to support yourself and how your family's going to deal with this child support bill that you're going to have until they turn 18.
And they moved, a month later?
Well, the judge had ordered her to go seek employment that was hiring that she qualified for. In other words, she can't apply for a job as a physicist with 20 years experience if she's not a physicist with 20 years experience. She has to apply for a job that she's capable and qualified for.
That's everybody.
Qualified. I think that was the word I was looking for. So she was required to go get a job. He said, if you don't have a job by the time we come back to the next court hearing, I'm holding you in contempt of court.
Yep. So
she moved.
Yeah.
Because that starts the whole process over. And let me tell you, folks, this is horrible. This is horrible that a non-custodial parent can be ordered to get a job by a judge, and then
Move.
to evade responsibility, all you have to do is move.
Yeah.
Just go to another state, and then that other parent has to start all over again. And so I had to do that. So now keep in mind, I had the kids in October of 2018, and I thought, gee, I need to get this ball rolling. So in January of 2020, right before COVID really hit in the U.S., I mean, there was a couple cases. That was back when we had the map of the U.S., and they were like, oh, there's a case here, and a case here, and a case up here, and that was it, January, and then what was it? February, March, April is when it really started flooding. I mean, you just saw cases popping up on the map everywhere.
Yep.
Well, I had said, hey, listen, I need my case to go from Arizona here to Kentucky so that I can get this ball rolling. Because remember, I was under the mindset that nothing had changed for a year and a half, right? No major outcome, and I couldn't ask for a change, so I had to wait my time. So I waited my time, and we got the process started in July. So January, I filed to have the thing brought over. And because of COVID, it just took way longer than necessary. This is like a week-long process, maybe at best. One court calls the other court, says, hey, we need this documentation. Send this whole docket over. Okay, we got
Not
you.
that easy.
And that's it. That's all that needed to be done. Took 6 months.
Yeah.
July 31st, I went down to the child support office for the county and signed the paperwork saying, hey, I need help. I need help, child support. The mother's not helping. I mean, so very little. So little.
Yeah.
I need help. And they said, okay, we got you. You write your stuff down, and then we'll get the ball rolling. You don't have to do anything else. Lie. They do not look out for single fathers.
No, they don't.
That's a straight up BS.
Not here anyway.
Nope.
Here is not a father's state. It doesn't matter if the dad has had full custody for 10 years and the mother is,
Yep. So I said, hey, I need help. So that was when they had started with California, and California started the process, which took like almost a year. And there was times when, the judge the first time was like, okay, I'm ordering you to undergo, to look for a job. And then she came back and he says, have you looked for a job? And she goes, no, I'm a stay-at-home mom. This is what I'm doing. He's like, nope, you're going to go look for a job. I can't. Why? Because I'm a stay-at-home mom. I don't care. It was basically an argument between the two of them. And I've got it recorded, folks. I'm not lying. It was an argument that the judge was telling her, hey, look, you're not the custodial parent. You need to now support your children financially. Get up, get a job, start helping. No.
Yeah.
That's basically what she did.
Yeah.
She said, no, I'll just move. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, then that's exactly
she's right.
what she did.
There was nothing that judge could do about it. So it started the whole process over again. I had to start all over again in Ohio. And that took from it was early 2022 until about 3 or 4 months ago. Ohio just dragged their feet. They said, nah. We don't need to do it.
Because they are a man-hater state. They are dad-hater
There's no reason I can remotely closely think of why it took them like 8 months just to verify that she even lived there. No.
Well, that's because she kept refusing.
Refuse service?
Yeah.
Get a sheriff to show up.
Yeah.
They'll confirm. Done.
Well, she probably wasn't answering the door then.
Yeah, whatever the case was. She would do everything she can to avoid responsibility of being a parent. Mm-hmm. So I was at the mercy of the state. I kept on waiting. For those of you who this is the part where if you're going through this, do not give up.
No.
Don't give up.
Keep pushing.
This is what you can do. If you don't like the people that are supposedly helping you in the child support office of the county that you are going to, call the ombudsman for your state. That ombudsman talks directly with the mayor?
The governor.
The governor.
Yeah.
Yes. The governor is the only
Attorney
person.
General.
Yep. Governor and attorney general. Those are the two that oversee the operations of child support and child custody and child protective services, all that stuff. So if you have a problem with someone not doing their job, you call that ombudsman, respectfully, of course, Call them and say, this is, and just lay out the facts. Don't say I think or I feel. Well, you can say I feel, but be factual. Don't lie. Be honest. Give them the information and let them do what they're supposed to do. You got to give them time. You got to be respectful, but the ombudsman is there for you to help out. So I had to call the ombudsman. I had to write letters to the governor. I had to call the ombudsman of Ohio. I had to call the state representative. I had to call state senators. I would not give up. I was going to be that guy that would not give up until you did your job. And I was satisfied with it. Now, if they did their job and I still don't get child support, okay, you did what you did.
Yeah.
But if you're not doing your job, I know somebody did not do their job, either in Kentucky or in Ohio or both.
Yeah.
Someone didn't do their job.
Again, I'm going back to it's because you're the father who was looking for child support. If it would have been you that they were trying to come after for child support,
I would have been paying child support on day 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't run from my responsibilities.
Yeah.
I don't. She did.
Yeah. Oh, and she still is.
She still is. Yeah. I got awarded, this is why we can talk about this now.
Yeah.
It is finally it was called a final appealable order. And if you don't appeal that order within 30 days, it's a final order. That's it. No more turning around. No more, whoa, I forgot this. That's it. Final order. That's it. Final. Yep. Done. That happened in December of last year.
Yeah.
So I'm done. I won. I won, folks. I won child support.
Yes.
She has to pay me.
It's not a lot, but it's the point.
I just wanted her to be responsible. That's it.
Yeah, it's the principality of it.
If she's going to be the parent that sends the kids to the non-custodial parent in going to a state that has colder weather, and you send them with literally nothing, no bag, no blanket, no comfort toys.
And he even told her he was bringing 2 suitcases.
2 empty suitcases. I had to pay the extra money because they were suitcases. Because when you buy a flight now, nothing's free.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I paid.
The oxygen that you breathe on the plane is
pretty
not
sure,
free.
I'm very certain that even the carpet that I tripped on, I had to pay to trip on the carpet.
Oh, I'm sure. They added that
They're
in.
Like, whoa, sorry, sir. I saw you trip. That's going to be an extra $5. We got to add that on right now. I'm pretty sure they did that. But no, I won. I got my child support.
He has not seen it, but he did win.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna be like, and all the money that I've gotten, I don't have any money. She still nothing. No. Zero. Now, she did. Well, I can say that. Remember, folks, I was talking earlier about the attorney's fees. Let's have a discussion about that because that's something that she did do. Yeah. She did pay that.
Oh.
She paid the attorney's fees. I'd like to know what potential options there are. If you're in court and you don't have any money, let's say you're broke, and the judge says, now the judge here in Kentucky, I did bring her to court and I said, look, I've got a judgment. I would like an order ordering her to pay a certain amount. I'm not the math guy. I'll let you, the judge, know because this is what they do. So I'm not going to tell the judge, hey, you need to make it $500 a month. No, I'm just going to say, look, I would just like you to order her to pay me a fair, reasonable amount per month until this amount is paid off. So the judge looked at it and he said, okay, I am going to order you, he's telling her, you have to pay Mr. Lauderdale this amount of money per month. Okay. We didn't even leave the court building. And
made it out of the courtroom.
We literally just left the courtroom, and she offered to pay the entire. It was like close to $11,000 at once.
Mm-hmm.
How do you have $11,000 just like it's like you have a. Okay, so this is what I did. I looked at it and I'm like, okay, this is what happened. The judge ordered her to pay $300 a month. She said, I don't have any money. basically he was like, well, this is what you owe, hammer down, done. I mean, there was other stuff in the hearing, but that's pretty much what it was. And I mean, she argued. At one point, she was arguing, how do I pay child support when I don't earn any money? And then, I mean, it was just...
Well, that's when the judge said, did he pay you child support?
Right.
I mean, the judge... like, yeah, because...
Yeah, because it's expensive raising kids.
And he's all like...
My lawyer actually said the words, ma'am, you're making my case for me. I mean, how... Yeah.
She's not the smartest. She's really not.
You don't say... the money that he gave me wasn't enough to raise the kids. It's expensive raising kids. Well, yeah.
And they're bigger now.
Yeah, they're bigger.
They're teenagers.
Yeah, now it's really costing money. Now we got braces.
Yeah,
now we got driving stuff. Now it's insurance.
Yeah.
Now no, it's way more expensive. And yeah, so she made my point for me.
Yeah.
It's expensive.
I can actually say the judge is already upset from the first time we went to court.
The judge here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
because this was also the same judge where she tried to say that I was abusing the kids. Oh, surprise, folks. Another accusation of abuse.
Mad. So this is after it was actually in the court documents that under no circumstances is she to prevent the boys from coming back home to their father.
In other words, it was very clear. If you do anything to try and circumvent the court system, you're in trouble.
Yeah. So she went to the police department here. They looked at her and said,
this
you're
was
lying.
Well, hold on. Let's make sure that they understand the context of it. This was the first time before. This was the time that determined the whole supervision.
Yeah, this is the
moment on how this happened.
Yeah.
So she was allowed to take the kids for a week for Christmas break or whatever. Okay, fine. They go with her, and they have a good time, I guess. I don't know. They didn't say they had a bad time, so, whatever. They were supposed to be home at, it was like a Friday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon or whatever. Maybe it was a Saturday. It was some day and time, and she was supposed to be home. So as it gets close, excuse me. Now, as you're driving somewhere, most of us use the GPS on our phones, and it tells us, hey, you're 42 minutes away, right? So for the most part, unless there's a traffic collision, excuse me again. Man.
Lord.
It's just carbonated bubbly.
That bubbly.
Yeah, bubbly. So I was like, okay, well, when are you going to be here? And I'm not the type where if she's supposed to have them there at 1 o'clock and she pulls up at 1:01, I'm not going to be like, get the cops. Okay, she's a minute late.
Yeah.
Whatever.
You never.
But it got to the point where it was like 5-8 minutes, and I was trying to call her, and she wasn't answering. So at this point, I'm starting to get concerned. Okay, just going straight to voicemail. She's supposed to be back. This isn't the first time that she's not necessarily tried to kidnap them, but tried to keep them from coming back. And I thought, okay, this is BS. Something's going on. This is when she made the claim that I was abusing the kids again, and the judge had done a restraining order against me.
So she went to the police station.
Yep.
She tried to have the boys say, Dad, this.
Yeah,
he's
tried to convince the kids.
He could tell that the boys were being coerced. So she came, she dropped them off, and then she drove to the next town over
to the sheriff's department
without
instead of the city.
The boys. And I don't know how she managed to do it, but she managed to get a restraining order without them there.
Right. And keep in mind, folks, this was like I'm in the blind. I have no idea what's going on. I'm like, where's the kids? Why isn't she coming here? And then all of a sudden, she pulls up with the police.
No, she was parked up there at that corner, and she watched them.
Yeah, she came up.
Yep.
Or the law enforcement came up, and they're like, we got not a restraining order, but it was a PPO.
It was a restraining order. It was
a restraining order.
Yep.
No evidence whatsoever.
No.
It's just, he's going to hurt the kids.
Yeah.
Not true at all.
Well, that backfired.
Yeah. So I had to go to court within 10 days, and the judge was like, okay, here's the list of everything you said he did that's abuse. And it was 7 things. I remember reading the list. I remember this is the same judge from later in an earlier conversation that we were talking about that happened later, if that makes sense. So this judge said, okay, well, it says here that the father is making the kids do their chores. What chores do they have at your house? And so she listed off, they pick up dog poop in the yard, and they have to take the garbage out, and they have to do their dishes or whatever. And he asked her, okay, well, what chores do they have at his house? And she goes, same chores.
Yeah. And he's all like,
so he's looking at her like, so it's abuse when it's at Dad's house, but it's just a regular chore at your house.
She's like, yeah.
And she's like, yeah. And he's like,
no.
That's not the way it works.
No.
It doesn't work like that.
No.
It's okay. So that one's out. And he went down the list. He's like, no, that's not abuse. No, that's not abuse. That's not abuse. And
there was one where it was because one of them had chosen not to do it all day, and so you told him to go when it was dark.
Yeah.
And the judge is all like, well, as a matter of fact, might have to get up before school when it's dark and do theirs. And actually, he should be getting off the bus now doing.
He was looking at his watch. He's like, well, it's about time that they get off the bus. And if they're not doing their chores, going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
And so he was very much aware
honest,
that this was clearly, she did this to try and circumvent the court system. She's trying to get more time with the boys, which obviously she did, because once that 10 days was up, right back to me.
And that led to her.
That was the incident that caused her
to lose the kids.
Not only she lost the kids. No, I had already had the kids. That was the incident that caused her to have a requirement for a full psychological evaluation. Because this wasn't the first time documented that she made the claim that I was an abuser. This was like the 3rd or 4th time. Multiple times.
Yeah.
Keeps on saying he's an abuser, he's an abuser, he's an abuser.
Well,
not an
I
abuser.
think another thing that did it is because, that's when she tried to kidnap the boys out of the courthouse.
Yeah. So, that's another one, folks. This is...
Did you forget that one?
Momentarily. The judge ordered... Yeah, this is that one, wasn't it?
It was that court date,
It was that court date. So we came back to court, and the judge said, nah, this is not abuse. And I remember my lawyer actually asking the judge very clearly, Your Honor, just to be clear, the kids are going to go back to my client's custody because this is not a valid case.
Yeah.
The kids are going back to Dad.
Yep.
And the judge was like, oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So when we exited the courtroom, she was like, can I at least just give him a hug and say I love him? And I was like, yeah, of course. I mean,
Yeah.
One of the bailiffs came up to me and came up to me and was like, hey, if she tries to do anything stupid, I'm watching.
And actually, he wasn't. He was in the courtroom because I had to go running.
Well, he said, "Come and get me."
Yeah,
he said, "Come and get me if she does anything."
To enter. So
my mind, I'm like, "Are you kidding me? We're in a courtroom. There's bailiffs, sheriffs, all kinds of people. Who would be that dumb to try and do something?" Guess what, folks?
She was.
She said she grabbed the kids in her hug, and then immediately tried to abscond with the children. Tried to
She was running down the stairs doing this.
Yep. She was going down the stairs and she said, deuces.
And she tried to say
I'm
that
out of
she
here.
was just taking them. No, she wasn't.
Yeah, no, she was very clearly trying to kidnap the children.
And mind you, the next court hearing was already going on.
Yeah.
I had to run in there and interrupt that court hearing.
Yep.
I'm
she went and got that bailiff, and that bailiff
running.
bolted. And we actually had a witness that was with us that was a retired deputy, and he was actually, someone grabbed his arm. You remember that?
It was that girl.
Yeah.
She was just trying to be.
Let's
that's
not
a
talk
whole
about
other
that.
story.
But anyways.
She was cussing out, and his ex-wife was cussing.
She was at the
out
bottom.
The guards at the bottom, like kicking and screaming.
Like they had to physically restrain her, and she was kicking and screaming,
and
trying to get loose.
Kick her out. Yeah.
Yep.
They physically removed her.
And
they walked us to our vehicle because they
didn't trust
were
her.
afraid that
they were afraid that she was going to do something.
Yeah.
Yep. And sure enough, folks.
She cuckoo for
guess
Cocoa
what
Puffs.
happened? Nothing happened to her.
No.
She attempted to abscond, aka kidnap in quiet. She tried to kidnap the kids. It didn't work for her.
Nope.
But nobody did anything. This is another case of the dad just getting the brunt end of it.
So I'm going to play, like you say, devil's advocate. I think the reason they didn't, because they already had took her supervision away.
Yeah.
I think it's because they were already doing stuff, and you had already been to court so many times, and you
maybe it was a mercy.
I think it was a mercy thing.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that.
And the kids had already been through so much. It wasn't just you guys; it was them now.
The reason I don't agree with that mercy thing is because if you saw everything that she did, and
I
saw
did.
all the lies, you saw all the manipulation. If you saw all that, you would not have the mercy, because it's not an accident that she tried to kidnap the kids. She did it with willful knowledge, intention of trying to disregard what the judge just told her.
It is. But I'm going to say this to you, Tim. She is not a happy person.
No.
And I say that not just, with how she treats people. She is not a happy person in her life. And it shows. It shows with the way she treats people. Yeah, she treats people a certain way when she first meets them, when she wants them to think that she is a different person, but her colors come out.
Right.
She does not wake up happy in the morning. And that is unfortunate. I feel sorry for her in the aspect that I feel sorry for her, but because that is where her mind is at, and that is how she thinks.
She's so aggressively against
everybody
me being in their life. So I'm going to wrap this part up.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say this. And I had written this. This is kind of this kind of tugs at my heart. This has been a very difficult journey, not only to go through, but to relive some of the low moments in my life. The good news is that although my ex-wife has regularly discouraged our kids to ignore me, refuse to have a good relationship, I kept telling our boys that she loved them, and that she may not be making the best decisions, and that we now know these decisions were harmful to both the boys and myself. And
her.
Here's the part that really, this is the healing part of me. I know that 115 days was the worst.
It was hard.
The worst time in my life.
Yep.
But this, even though this feels the same when you just look at it on the surface and you see we're going through it again, the boys got angry because they started to lose respect because of her. It all actually started when I started allowing her to have unsupervised contact because the boys were going to be 18.
That moment.
So as soon as I did that, all of a sudden the boys would stop doing their chores. Mm-hmm. They stopped listening to me. Yep. They would leave the house whenever they felt like it. They wouldn't tell us where they're going. The one boy would manipulate the parental software on the phone so that he could do things secretively
and inappropriately.
He also, I'm not going to say that.
He has so both of the boys have a bad addiction that she's in for a surprise. Well,
it might not be a surprise now. She probably figured it out.
Well, she's taught those boys how to be so sneaky and so manipulative because that's how she is.
But they're smart. I mean, they are smart. So some of this is them.
But remember, her boys
smart.
do no wrong. So she might be totally, and she might know, but she might be hiding it because she doesn't want her spouse to kick them out.
Yeah.
there's just a
But
whole scenario.
Regardless,
we miss them.
Yeah.
We love them.
I look at this as
They're
this
18 and they
situation,
just moved
they're
out.
18.
Yep.
Right? This is a whole new, it's an entirely different situation. Yes, I have not talked to my kids since, September for the one. And,
but Matthew just texted you.
Yeah. So I had one of the boys recently text me, and we're not going to talk about why.
No.
But it was just it was a Monday.
Either way, he reached out, and
He reached out to me.
That's something.
That's the beginning.
Yes.
That's how conversations.
Absolutely.
So healing has to happen.
Yeah.
And the only way healing can happen is if you're communicating.
Yeah.
And the only way you can communicate is to talk or write or
He's
communicate.
reaching out in his way.
Yeah. So I know that it may be another year, 2 years before I'm really back to the way it was before she had unsupervised contact. Because when we had supervised contact, it was pretty good around here. I mean, there were times that were typical teenage moments where they're just going to, be rebellious and whatever. That happens. I understand that. That's not.
They were buttheads at some, but they were teenage boys.
But they were teenage. We expected it, and it's par for the course. Got it, right?
Check
the box, move on.
We have rules and guidelines.
Yeah.
That you have to follow.
Respect is a big thing.
Yep.
I wrote on the mirror that this is one of those things. This is the type of dad that I am. I got one of those vinyl cutters that I can make the little letters and stickers and stuff. And I wrote, is your hair done right? Did you brush your teeth? Did you put on deodorant? What's the other one? It's
brush
on the
hair,
mirror.
brush teeth.
Brush hair, brush teeth.
And deodorant. Put on deodorant.
And then the last one said,
I'll go look.
You are loved. And they would regularly scratch off the you are loved part.
One of them did.
Yeah. And that's not, I understand the frustration, but he should have said, Dad, I feel like this is,
Well, it's just like he take their name off.
she's going to look it up. So we're going to see what it says. What does it say?
It says
Brush teeth,
deodorant,
deodorant, hair done right, good attitude. That's it.
the other board, like the little pegboard that we had.
Yeah, we had a little, but I wrote it on that one too. And it said, you are loved. And, we want our kids to know that we love them, of course. Why he would take that off? Because he's angry, for whatever reason, because I made him do his chores. And they did not have chores like what I had when I was a kid. It's so, and we probably, actually, so the one kid actually did say, I think you went a little easy on us, Dad. I think you really could have had us do more chores, like give us more responsibility. And I think that could have benefited them. But the problem is that they were getting an earful from Mom saying, you don't have, the boys actually admitted that the mom said, the bio mom said, oh, you don't have to listen to your dad.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have to listen to him.
Walk away.
Just ignore him. Walk away. And I was like, that's not acceptable. It's acceptable if there's an argument and it's heated. Yeah. It says we are proud of you. We love you. And what is it? Brush teeth is on there as well. So
we love you, tube.
yeah, we love. That's our joke. Yeah. When we say I love you, and the other person says I love you, tube. Because YouTube is pretty cool.
Yes.
Sort of.
All right,
It's like
turn myself back on.
Okay, so yeah, it's been a very difficult journey these especially the last few months because there's turmoil between me and my boys, and there really shouldn't be. There's no need to be that. There's no need to hang on to anger and resentment. Mm-hmm. The stuff we argued about is so trivial. I mean, you're talking about whether or not you had the opportunity to do chores, whether or not. I mean, if they didn't do their chores, I was clear. Look, you're not going to do your chores. If you're not going to do work here, you're not going to your job and getting paid for it.
That and their grades determined work too.
Right.
Because
their grades,
if they were failing, they weren't going to work.
Right. And I told them, hey, look, if you got less, because they are so smart. They're so smart. I was like, look, you can do this.
Smart butts. Yeah, no, they were super smart.
Super smart, very capable, very, they're both strong. They're both able-bodied. They just refused. And it all happened after they started talking to Bio Mom, and she started telling them, you don't need to listen to him. You know, she probably told him, "Oh, it's not your real dad." I don't know if she did that. You never know.
I think at one point there was a conversation. They're like, "But David's our dad. Tim's not."
Yeah,
and the judge is all like,
Oh, this is the same time when the judge.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is when the initial. I got the restraining order. We have the video of this. This is pretty. I'm going to look into the legality of whether or not I can post any of these.
Yeah.
Because I have some of these courtroom videos, and I'd love to share little snippets of them, but I'm going to make sure it's okay first.
Yeah, we don't want to do anything that's not. And again, we're not doing this to badmouth her.
No.
She's loving her children in the only way that she knows how. And she does have 2 other children with her husband. Mm-hmm. So it's not only our 2 boys, Tim, it's also the other 2 children, our 2, and I do say our boys because I have been a part of their lives since they had squeaky voices. But it's, you know, those 2, the other 2, and her current husband. All of us are affected by her actions and her words, but she is so concerned of only what she's getting or not getting.
The biggest argument that I had with her was anytime she would have to be financially responsible towards me. If she thought that I would benefit in any way, shape, or form, she was against it.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
boys
because
moving with you? You're going to have to buy 2 full wardrobes of clothes tonight.
It's because of that $200 allowance you put her on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was actually $400.
I know, I'm joking.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of distrust that I have with her because of all the malicious things that I believe she did.
It was so bad. It took him a while to realize that I was not. He knew that when we first met, I think, because of his dog. But it took him a while to actually trust who I was as a person and a human being. I am not the best person. I am not the best human being, but I do everything that I can as a human being to be kind, to be nice. And yeah, we're over here talking about this, but again, she's who she is. You know, everybody is. And we have to understand that we don't understand why people act like that and do the things we do. And we just have to be kind, even though we don't agree, we don't like it. Being angry at them feeds them.
Yeah.
It feeds them to want to continue to do that stuff, to aggravate you, because they know that what they are doing is working. Yep. They know that what they are doing is making you angry and it's making you frustrated. So they're just going to continue on. So you know what? Don't worry about what someone else does to you unless it hurts you physically. Emotionally, we can learn to control our own emotions, I guess. So
yeah,
and I can say a lot of this because I've been through a lot.
Let me, I do want to say a couple things to people in particular that may be listening, and I'm talking about my younger boys. If you're listening, understand that I, first and foremost, love you, and I miss you. No matter what, I care about you, and you're important to me, and I want you to know that I support you, and I want things to get better with us. I want a better relationship. Whatever the anger and frustration that you have, that you're holding on to, please just consider what you're doing. Is it worth not having a good relationship with someone that loves you and cares about you? Is it worth doing all of this? I get it. You're on your own. You're 18. This is the easy part for me. I have to tell myself, The reason that they're not talking to me isn't because they're mad. It's because they're 18 and they have to figure out life. That's what you do when you're 18. You go out, you get your job, you meet people, you start to figure out how to live life, how to pay your bills. You figure out where you're going to be. You have a blank slate that you've never experienced before. And sometimes part of processing that blank slate is knowing that you might not have a great relationship with your parents. I didn't leave my parents angry though. I wasn't kicked out or, forcibly left or anything like that.
Your parents are so chill.
They are.
I understand your dad was a little bit strict, but he's your dad. But there was a time that he wasn't. I think he hit there was something in his life.
I'm just saying, no matter what.
Parents.
This is
Just
whatever is on their mind.
Teenagers are rough.
Let me just say this. I understand. I've been there. I know between 18 and 21 are difficult years. They're also some of the most fun years. Do things right,
A boy's life, it's probably 18 to about 25.
Yeah. Well,
maybe 26.
Most kids. And the whole, hey, the brain's not fully formed and they make rash decisions. Yeah, that's true. I definitely did not make the greatest of decisions in those young years.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying in general, there had to have been some bad decisions.
Yeah.
But there were also good decisions. I'm not saying everything's bad and you always do that. I'm saying this is expected that you're going to have some tumultuous times. I wanted to say that word. Because I like words. Words are fancy.
Does.
That reminds me.
I was going to say.
I went this entire episode. I meant to say this. I said something in a previous episode, maybe not have been the best thing to say. And if you were offended, I apologize for you being offended, but I'm not sorry for saying it because words change throughout time. Words have specific meanings, and we need to be accurate on our conversations when we say things. If I'm not saying something malicious or negative for the purpose of being destructive, I said something that may have you could have taken out of context, and for that I'm sorry. But we need to have good words, and that kind of goes with today's word of the day that I have from last week. It's not really today's word of the day. But it's last week's word of the day that I'm reading today. It's going to make me
go like this?
No, it's Weltschmerz. Do you remember that one? Did I say that one on the last one?
Yeah, you.
Weltschmerz.
No, you haven't said it on here, but I know I've heard you say it.
Weltschmerz. Sorrow that one feels and accepts as one's own necessary portion in life. Sentimental pessimism. Like you just kind of, you have to feel bad for doing things. So Weltschmerz. It's a noun. That was the word of the day. And I want to tell you a dad joke.
Knew that was coming.
Gotta happen, folks.
Yes.
All right. Do you know what causes dry skin? A towel.
Crickets are chirping. Crickets are chirping.
I'm waiting for you to laugh. You know what I like about these microphones? It makes it sound like I have a deep voice.
Well,
I really don't. I don't think I have a deep voice, but I mean, if I'm talking quietly.
You have a deep voice. You have a deeper voice than I do, which is probably a good thing.
Thank you.
Bonjour. I don't know. That's a sound of the day.
It's like a little kid. Like, hey, what noise can I make?
Do you remember putting your face in front of a fan, going and it would go make that vibrating? Like it sounds like
I am your father.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course I did. Everybody did.
Sounded like a robot. I'm a robot today.
Yep.
Yes.
How long have we been talking? Have we been doing this for a minute?
Yeah. Over 2 hours. It's been
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. No.
Dang.
No.
Well, you got to figure 9-10 years of crap that you're just unloading.
Yeah.
And like I said, folks, I'm sorry if this is kind of a repeated, like, ugh, it's tired.
So,
Who wants to hear this?
Well, now that the whole episode has been dedicated to this, and when we first started this, I told him that he would have one episode for this, and I'm glad he did. And now that he has, he might actually feel better.
Yeah.
And for, fathers, even mothers, grandparents who are trying to get custody, other family members, there's going to be a struggle. It's never going to be that easy, but don't give up. And if you guys have a question on who you might need to reach out to, contact us. You can reach out to us on our website at theloudertales.com. And it is contact us at theloudertales.com.
Yeah, email.
Yeah.
So
you can do that.
But yeah, don't forget there's people out there that are there to help you, like the ombudsman. And, if it's something, if you're in the military, you can talk to senators and congressmen. There's people out there, but you have to do the work. You have to put in the work.
Yeah,
it's
and
unfortunate.
Again, you do, but if you have a question and you're not sure which direction, reach out. Tim is a person, he's been doing this, and he's done a lot of his own homework. He actually has done his own homework, except for a little bit that I've helped him with. But this has been his journey. I've just been his cheerleader.
This has been a wild ride.
You can also leave us a question on our questions. They are private unless we choose to post them.
Yeah.
But something like that we won't if you have a question for us.
And
make sure you like and follow us.
Yeah, please. Thank you.
As
please
well.
And thank you.
Please.
Please.
And again, I'm going to tell you the same thing. Let us know what we can do to improve our podcast.
Right.
This is for you guys.
If it's me wearing a mask.
He is so handsome.
I got a cool mask though. I got that one that lights up in the face.
He has a very neat. I might wear it.
It's one of those
one day.
digital LED things for those of you who have seen those.
Might wear it one day.
I wore it once just to make sure it turned on, and I didn't really play with it. It's another one of those things.
I think I wore it for a little bit on the way out there to our friend's house.
Yeah.
In the country.
But I do some fun photography, and that was why I bought it. Is doing some photography things.
You could even check out his photography.
Yeah. If there's anything you like, I can.
We'll post the link on our website.
Yeah.
That way we don't leave too much out there in the universe as far as this. But we'll put it. Yeah, the universe.
Do you know what kind of bug can tell time?
What?
A cockroach.
You ain't right. Someone just heard that word, and
they probably.
So I'm not even.
Someone probably.
Yeah.
Get off me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You got to get a bug guy out there if you got.
Someone's in Hawaii going across the road, and one started chasing them. The big old ones like that are that big. They'll chase you in Hawaii. It's bad.
What do you call a can opener that doesn't work?
Broken.
A can't opener. Got one. I got one, folks. That's all. I'm going to leave on a high note. Leaving on a high note. I got her to laugh. We're good.
Oh.
All right, folks. Thank you for tuning in.
Yes.
And you get to listen to our wonderful outro. That's me playing the guitar.
And that was him reminding
me
that I need to hit the outro because last time I didn't.
And make sure it plays so that they can hear my beautiful guitar. All right, folks.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, guys.
Make sure you subscribe.
And we'll talk to you next time.
We'll see you next time. Thanks, folks. Bye.
We hope you enjoyed today's show, and thanks for listening to the Louder Tales podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time.